Hi everybody, this is John Watkins. At the end of August, Margaret and I visited Yellowstone National Park. I'm preparing this video and an earlier video to let you know what we found in Yellowstone after the flooding that occurred in June. In part one, we covered our trip around and visits around the lower loop of the Figure 8 and the road system at Yellowstone. And this video is going to cover our visits on the upper loop, the upper part of the Figure 8. Come along and we'll show you what we found. Now remember, if you're going to Yellowstone, be sure to check conditions in advance because they are changing. We are driving the upper loop of the Figure 8 in a counterclockwise fashion. The upper loop is probably less traveled, especially now because some of the northeast entrance is closed due to the flooding earlier this year. And you know, the big must-see things such as the lower falls and Old Faithful and the geyser pools are all on the lower loop. But you can see this is really spectacular country up here. We are really high up. I imagine we're about 9,000 feet right now. We're on the north loop on the way to Tower Falls, and I just wanted to stop at this overlook to again show you the kind of scenery you see up here. It's often overlooked in Yellowstone, but you feel like you're on top of the world here. And here's another view from the north loop on the way to Tower Falls, and then on over to Mammoth. And it's just so expansive. I mean, just wide open spaces. This is Tower Falls from the main viewpoint, which is just off the road, and there's a general store and easy walk about 500 feet, they said. Seemed about right, on a paved trail. It's quite impressive. It's certainly worth a stop if you're up here on the north loop, and as you can see, it really tumbles down a great way. Nice, very pretty. This is at the Calcite Springs Overlook, and I wanted to show you this amazing view of the river. We think that's the Tower River, but I'll try to confirm that. Not totally sure, but man, it's pretty. And you can see some more of that Yellowstone. And here's another view from the Calcite Springs Overlook. You can see even more of the river. It is really something. Look at it all the way out there. Yeah. We are here at Mammoth Hot Springs. I'm going to show you some of these limestone formations in a minute. But this is at the northwest part of the loop, and the northwest entrance is closed. And we were told that nobody was going to be up here, but people have not been deterred. It's a great place to visit. And this is Mammoth Hot Springs. These steps are naturally occurring features in the minerals in the water, which you can see calcifying form these interesting features. This is one of the main attractions up here at Mammoth Hot Springs. And here's another view of the limestone features. Sometimes you get these formations that look like footballs. There's a big one just over here, and then there's this one here, and then you get these step formations, steam and water and all kinds of minerals in there. And you can see the boardwalk system that you can take if you want to go up further in the Mammoth area and see back down to the village and so forth. Well, this is the last day of our trip out to Idaho, Wyoming, and Montana. We left Yellowstone yesterday and stayed overnight in Bozeman. We drove down today to Gardiner, which is the town which is at the northwest entrance to Yellowstone. And of course, if you've been keeping up in the news, the northwest entrance is closed because of the flooding earlier this year. But we wanted to see the Roosevelt Arch, and well, no problem. It's here, accessible, and we have it pretty much all to ourselves. So this is one of the, just to show you the walkways, very narrow, through the Roosevelt Arch. And it's just stone, not a whole lot to see in it, but it's a piece of history. So there's one on one side, and then there's Margaret, one on the other. So this is Gardiner. We've stopped at this little Cowboys Lodge and Grill for lunch. Town's pretty empty because of the entrance to Yellowstone being closed because of the flood, but give you a little idea of what the town's like. The guy inside the restaurant told us that if you stay here at night, right now, there are grizzly bears coming into town between 11 and 2 a.m. just because it's so quiet. I guess that would kind of deter my night sky photography in this area. But you can see it's pretty quiet here. Gas station's open, and a few things are open. So there you have it. That's part 2 of our series on Yellowstone after the flood. We had an enjoyable trip around the upper loop at Yellowstone. Most things were open, or at least partially open, and that'll probably get better in the future. But as I said at the beginning of the video, check before you visit, because things are in flux all the time.